Welcome to the Healing Girl Diaries Podcast. I'm Sangeetha, your host and a fellow healing girl myself, and I can't wait to have some girl chats about all the things that make life messy and how to find peace to keep you flowing, glowing, and growing. Let's get into it. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Healing Girl Diaries Podcast. I am so incredibly happy that you decided to click on this episode and spend your time with me and really have a good girl talk, chit chat with me. It's my very first episode, so I am very excited to be recording this right now. I actually sat down and tried to record a first episode a couple of times now, but it just wasn't really flowing that great. And maybe it was just the topic, or maybe I was just not ready. Maybe it just wasn't the time yet. There has been something on my mind, which you already know by the title of this podcast. It's about rejection. And the funny thing is, it's not like I've been rejected from anything recently. It's just something that's been on my mind for a while and something that I wanted to talk about in depth and at length, but I don't really have a platform to do that. So I just wanted to talk and give my story and my opinion, my perspective on rejection, and I just hope that maybe by the end of this episode that you will also have a different view of rejection other than the one that you currently have, if it is something leaning towards a more negative view of it. But I just wanted to start out by saying that I think that when we are rejected from anything, it is for a reason. I don't think that rejection is a coincidence. In fact, I don't think anything in life is a coincidence. So, believing that, I also don't think rejection is a coincidence. I actually think that it serves a higher purpose, and it happens to us by a higher power, whatever higher power you believe in, or if you don't believe in one, that is okay too. It's just, I think that it happens for a reason. I think that a lot of times we tend to think that rejection means something negative about us. We tend to make it very personal, and we tend to make it mean something about our self-worth and how worthy we are of something or of an experience or of someone, when in fact I think it is the complete opposite. I think that rejection happens so that you are placed on the right path. And if you are rejected, I think that it just means that you may have been going down a path that might not lead to the best version of yourself. Maybe something bad would have happened, maybe you would have had to experience something that you don't really need to, that's not necessary. Maybe it's you don't need to learn that lesson in this lifetime. It could literally mean a million different things. I just think that rejection happens for a reason, and I really do believe that rejection is redirection. I think it redirects you in a different path in life, one that benefits you and those around you. And I think that I want to tell you and explain to you about how I think rejection is completely necessary in life through a personal story. And that personal story is about college. So when I was 17, or when I was a senior in high school, I was, applying to colleges, putting my applications out there, taking the SATs, all the things you need to do before you apply to college. And to be completely honest, I didn't even know what college really was. I am the oldest child, so I didn't have anyone else to really look up to. My parents are a little bit older, so they don't know that much about the college application process, or about colleges in general. All I knew was that I needed to go to this thing called college. I knew nothing about it. I literally applied to just all the colleges that my friends were applying to, and all the colleges in state. I only applied to one out of state. Yeah, so I applied to all these colleges, and I sent out my applications, and I found out that we were getting our decision letter. letters. Two of the colleges in my state in North Carolina, I really, really wanted to go to. Like, those were like my top colleges at the time. Like, those I was like, I need to get into one of these. These are the two best colleges in the state. If I don't get into these, it's going to look bad on me. I'm gonna look like I'm not smart enough. I'm not gonna be with my friends. Like, all these things were going through my mind. Like, it was just a lot of pressure. I mean, it's the college application process is a lot of pressure on everybody. But I was just so nervous. I remember I got the decision for one of the colleges after school, I think. So I was sitting at the computer and I was opening it up and I got rejected. It was a no. And I don't really remember a lot of it. I just remember immediately crying. Like, I was devastated that I didn't get into this college. But then I saw online that people were talking about getting a decision from another college, like the other main one that I really wanted to go to. So I was like, okay, I still have hope. I could get into this one. This one's gonna be good. Like, I'm gonna get into this one. I opened that decision letter like right after the one I previously opened, and I got rejected again. I had never felt so embarrassed in my entire life. Like, I literally thought that this meant so much about me. I thought that it meant that I was not smart enough, that my writing wasn't good enough, my grades weren't good enough, my SAT scores weren't good enough, they just don't like me as a person. Like, I was just making the whole thing about me. And yeah, so it was just, I was so devastated. And it's kind of funny though, because like, I didn't really know what college was. So it's kind of crazy how attached I got to this like idea of college without really fully even knowing it. And I was just kind of going along with whatever everyone else was saying. I mean, college was definitely something that's like, I needed to go to, like, especially in my family. Like, I just couldn't not go to college. It was the most like heartbreaking thing to hear when like I knew all my friends were going to be going to these two colleges and I would have to go to another one. But I mean, it did work out. I actually got into an out-of-state college, so I went to that one. I went there for 2 years, and I ended up needing to transfer after my sophomore year of college because the expenses were too high, and I was like, I think my parents wanted me to be closer to home. And I honestly didn't mind because I kind of was homesick. Like, I get homesick so fast. So I didn't really mind transferring. It was just like, I just didn't want to go through the college application process again. Having to write those statements and send in my transcripts and this and that. Like, it was just such a headache and such a hassle, and I did not want to do it. But I mean, I had to. So again, I applied to these two colleges, the main college I wanted to go to. I applied to like a few others also because I needed, like, I just wanted some backup schools. I wanted to apply to as many just in case. Like, I didn't get into the ones I wanted. I got rejected again. And so I just felt like, I literally took it so personally. I'm like, this just has to be me. Like, there's no way I could be getting all A's in school, all A's in college, and still get rejected. Like, I don't understand what I was doing wrong. Like, that's how I felt. And so I went to my backup school, which was UNC Charlotte. I transferred to UNC Charlotte, and so that's where I ended up graduating school. Like, I just finished out college there. But it wasn't until my junior year, or it was kind of like junior/senior, because I kind of graduated like a semester late. So I ended up joining a speech and debate club. It's called Forensics. Like, I did forensics in high school also. If you know what it is, it's just kind of like public speaking, but like you compete in it. So you can do like monologues from like movies, or like a speech like someone made, or you can do like impromptu speaking, which is like when they give you a quote and you have like 7 minutes to come up with you have like 2 minutes to come up with a 7-minute speech, I think. I mean, I never did that, but I'm really happy to whoever did it. But anyway, so I did forensics in college. I found out that my school, UNC Charlotte, had a forensics team, and I was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool to join. Because another thing that I think I'm gonna save this for another podcast episode, but another thing is college like really wasn't the best time for me. I ended up feeling very lonely, very depressed, and I didn't have a lot of support around me friend wise, and so I just wanted to find a way to make new friends. So I decided to join Forensic, which is speech and debate, and I went there to like the first day of like the club meeting, and there was only like 4 of us that showed up. I ended up like loving the people that were in forensics. Like they were so cool. And it was so fun because we would travel, like just the 4 of us and our coach. We would travel to like different schools, in like a van, like on the weekends, and like, compete. And it was just like we like bonded so much because it was such a small group, and it was just probably the most fun I've had in college, because that experience just made my college years, because I made friends, and that was like the biggest thing for me. Like I just really wanted to make friends, but I also loved public speaking, and it really helped me like get out of my comfort zone, because I've always been a speaker. I think I was meant to do that. Like I think I'm meant to talk in front of people and like relay messages. And so that was just so much fun for me. But I ended up having so much fun in forensics. And it wasn't actually until like maybe my senior year, or even after I graduated, I found out that apparently UNC Charlotte is the only school in North Carolina with a college forensics team. And when I found that piece of information out, everything clicked. Like it just made sense, because I'm pretty sure, I think UNC Charlotte was like the first acceptance letter I got when I like first applied to college, like at my senior year of high school. So like I got in then, but I didn't choose to go. But then I chose to go when I transferred. And then I found out it was the only one that allowed, or the only one that had a forensics team. And that just blew my mind, because I just feel like I was meant to go to that school to meet those people and to make these connections and make these friends. Because if I went to any other school, maybe I wouldn't have made those same connections. Maybe I still would have had a hard time making, like there could be like so many different reasons. But that just made everything make sense for me. And I think that's how it is for any type of rejection. And hindsight is always 2020. Everything always makes sense after the fact. And we don't see that in the moment. Like in the moment, it just feels so heartbreaking and devastating, and like it just feels like it's our fault. We feel like something is wrong with us. We feel like we're not worthy of what we want. I felt like I wasn't worthy of these colleges, but like behind the scenes, the universe was like, girl, no, you're not going to the school because you're not going to make these same friends and these same connections at these other schools. Like you need to go to this one. And it was kind of nudging me to go to that school, but I didn't pick it the first time around. And the universe was like, okay, let's just make college a little bit too expensive. Let's make college a little bit too far away. And so it kind of nudged me in a different direction to go back to the path that I was meant to be on. And I just think that like it blows my mind when things like this happen, because it's just so interconnected, and the universe just knows so much more than we do. Like we think we know what we want, and I'm not saying that you're not like empowered and you're not like the decision maker in your life. Like of course you know what you want, but just some things are probably just not meant for us, and we're just not meant to experience them in our lifetime, and the universe will make sure that it does not happen. And it just blows my mind when you think about it, because I guarantee, if you think about any rejection that happened to you, whether it's like a rejection from a job, or like someone you liked, or like a rejection from school, like when you think about it now, like years or months later, you're like, oh, you know what, if I did get what I wanted originally, like I don't think my life definitely would not look the same. Like it just wouldn't. And it's like that for every single rejection. And if you can't see it yet, it just means you're not meant to see it yet. You will eventually see it, and everything will fall into place, and everything's going to just make so much sense. I just think that we tend to make rejection something about us, but it's just not about us. It is about us, but this is kind of gonna sound kind of like real deep, but I definitely think that every human and every living creature on earth is connected in some way. So like me being rejected from these colleges could mean something for someone else. Like, what if my space was meant for someone who, like, that school that I originally like dreamed of, and I put dreamed in quotation marks because I barely even knew what college was when I applied. Like, that could have been like someone's dream school, and like they just like wanted to go there since they were a child. And so like me not going there gave them a space to go to the college. Like it everything is interconnected. Like, I wasn't meant to go there, but someone else was meant to go there, which is why I got rejected and they got accepted and all this stuff, right? Everything happens for a reason. I think that if you are someone who still sees rejection in a negative way, if you think rejection and think something negative, I just want you to remember that there is all a higher purpose to this. Like, nothing happens by coincidence. When you start seeing rejection as something that is actually keeping you from something that's not meant for you, I think it'll change your life completely. We do tend to think that rejection means something negative about us, when in reality, it's literally keeping you from something negative. Like, that's how I see it now. And so when you change your perspective and you change your perception of rejection and you think about it in like a broader, zoomed out way, you won't be as affected by it. That's how I have been kind of navigating my life. I don't see rejection as something that means something about me. I just see it as something that's meant for my higher purpose and the higher purpose of the rest of humanity, which is kind of really broad, but that's just how I see it. And so I think that once you realize that rejection has nothing to do with your self-worth and it has more to do with the universe keeping you from something that's not meant for you, it'll just change your mind completely. Like, it's just rejection. Like, I think life is just so crazy the way it happens and the way things like work out. Like, everything just always ends up working out in the end. And we may not see it now. We might not even see it until like the day we die, or the day, like our very end of our lives. Like, we're just gonna be sitting there like really, really old, and we're gonna be like, dang, like it really just did work out for us like that. Like, everything was perfect. Life is always perfect. And if your life is super messy right now, or you feel like it's just a lot of chaos and there's a lot going on and things aren't going your way and you're getting rejected left and right, things have to be chaotic. Things have to get messy before they get better. Like, you have to break down an old foundation to build a new one, which is how I see it. So if your life is messy, if you feel like things aren't going your way, I feel like that's a great indicator that things are getting better. You can't heal without getting into like the nitty-gritty messiness of life, because you can't heal without the messiness. That's just how I see it. And I think rejection is a part of that messiness. If you consider it that, you don't have to let it be part of the messiness, like perspective wise, like mindset wise, but I mean, some people do. But I just think that if you change your perception of it, then things will look brighter. And I think that that's just how it is for like all things, not just rejection. Really just changing your perception of how you view like negative things in your life, negative like things that society makes you think are negative. Like, you'll just be a happier person. I just think this is such an important topic to talk about, because I know that it's affected me for so long, and it happens to rejection is just like one of those common human experiences that happens to everybody. I don't think anybody has gone through life without being rejected at least once. Like, it happens to everybody, and it's definitely one of like the most hurtful things that can happen. But once you change your perspective of it and you see that it's all meant for something greater and something brighter for everybody, oh my god, your mind and your life will just be like so much lighter and so much happier. So yeah, this is just something I really wanted to talk about for such a long time. I really hope that it brings you a different perspective. I really just hope like after this episode you kind of like ponder and think about any type of rejection that happened to you and what it saved you from. I think rejection is kind of like, it does save you from something. Please just look at all the rejections in your life and just like figure out and think about how it saved you from something, because I guarantee you it did. It 100% 100% did. Think about where you are now and think about like if you did get the thing that you were rejected from, if you did get that job or you didn't end up being in a relationship with someone or you did go to a college or literally anything, just think about where that would have led you, because it probably would have led you either down a place that you shouldn't have been, or it just kind of put you on a detour on the path to what you should have been on in the first place. It's just a little something to think about. I really hope you enjoyed this new perspective. Let me know if you liked it. You can DM me on Instagram at the Sangeetha and Rama, or just share this with anyone you like. Just let me know how you feel, and I hope that you guys are having an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing month, an amazing year, and I will see you in the next episode.